Hey, beautiful souls. I'm so excited for this episode. Today I have the wonderful Kirti with me. Thank you so much, my dear, for being here. Welcome. And I'm excited to talk with you about spirituality and mindset work because that is something that we both have in common a lot. So welcome, my dear. I would love to ask you, for starters, to share a bit about your journey and how you came to discover the importance of the mindset work and the spiritual work that you just before said nourishes your soul so much.
Hi Anna, thanks for inviting me, and I'm really happy to be here and share my journey and my experiences. So I'll introduce myself briefly. I am Kirti. I'm from India, and currently I am in Madrid, Spain. I'm pursuing my master's here, and I'm also working in a high school. I started my spiritual journey I would say, as a young girl, as a young kid. So I was a lot into yoga and meditation from a young age, and so growing up in India, you're always surrounded by spirituality. I think you step outside the house, something or the other is happening, and your environment is such. And I think spirituality has really helped me give a wider perspective of life and to understand that things work out when they are meant to work out. Things will not work out when I want them to work out. I think that's more like our egoistic energy that wants to make things happen. But it has also taken me a lot of inner work to realize and to calm down and to pause, reflect that if something is falling into place, that is meant to fall into place. And if something is falling apart, it is meant to fall apart. Just an example, I'll share that we were supposed to record this podcast last month, and then a few days ago, it didn't happen for one thing or the other.
Yeah.
And I was really calm about it. I felt, oh, things are not in alignment. Something or the other is not working out. Last time also, we tried to record this podcast, and I had a terrible cough. And before the podcast and the day before, I was fine. I was not, my cough was okay, but I don't know when to start recording. I just had this irritation in my throat and I couldn't speak much. So now have started to loosen my grip over life, things, situations, people, places. And I think it has given me a lot of peace of mind, and it makes me feel comfortable where I am in life also. And yes, there are days when I struggle with it, that because obviously we want more growth, we want more in life. But I don't know, spirituality gives me that perspective that, okay, maybe 5 years ago I wanted to be here and today I'm here. I'm still not content. Maybe I'm out of alignment. Maybe I need to come back to my own self and find that inner grounding and my own alignment. So it's like if you see a plant, it grows at its own pace. It's like you planting a seed today and it will not start flowering tomorrow. So sometimes I also forget it, and I need to remind myself through journaling or through meditation or a lot of other practices. And so I think I prefer slow and steady pace. And I think that is how nature also grows. And I think humans also, as humans, we also grow that way. But I think sometimes we get into that notion of comparisons and, oh, why am I not growing? I put in efforts. Where are the results? But I think things fall into place at the right place, right time. So this has been my brief learning, this brief lifetime till now.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And I couldn't agree more, especially like the way we tried to connect a few times and it wasn't working out for whatever reason. I feel there's a lot of learning in things like this where, things are not working out because we could have stressed out about it. We could have tried to like keep control or force something. We talked about chasing, not attracting, or attracting, not chasing, depending on our mindset at that moment. And I think for me, there's always when things like this happen, I think like the universe has a better timeline for us right now. And if we're not meant to meet on that day that we've planned, and there is something to it that we maybe don't know, but whatever conversation we're having now is much more rich and inspiring than the one we would have before when we forced it through. I think there's, there is a reason for all the things. And like you said, it's like learning that we don't have to stress ourselves and try to control whatever we have planned for our days, for our weeks, for our life, but like really lean back and surrender and say like, okay, things will work out. I'm trusting that I'm on the right path and that the universe will support me beyond my logic, beyond my planning, beyond what I thought I would be, what point I would be in that moment. But to say like, okay, there's a reason for it. And if you look back in hindsight, things are always working out. So I feel it's a big thing that we humans can really learn to like look back and see, okay, things have worked out. That's why I have broken up with that person. That's why I haven't gotten that job. That's why I've traveled there. But we're at the same time so often stressing out about the future, and trying to control things instead of saying, yeah, I've been protected so far, so I can actually trust that I'm protected for what's to come next as well. And I want to come back to the attracting and not chasing, because I feel it's very important to talk about that. That's something so many of us are struggling with. And yeah, I would love to know how you call yourself back in moments where your ego tries to control, or you're feeling maybe nervous or anxious about things not growing the way you imagine them. How are you calling yourself back? What is your way or your favorite way to come back to yourself and say, like, it's fine?
So I feel like I have grown up in India, so my entire life, I mean, as Indians, we are taught to chase goals, have goals, keep working for it. So that goal-oriented mindset, that uh, obviously everybody wants to attain their goals, but sometimes when you put an effort also, if results are not coming, I used to question myself, what is going wrong? Uh, or am I not putting in enough efforts? Or am I not lucky enough? Or is the other person lucky? Or what? You have a lot of reasoning and excuses to give yourself, and other people around you, your friends, family, also question you. And like India is a tough society, so you are constantly, you are trying to improve yourself and all. And I used to be in const of this. I used to follow this constant chasing energy. What next? What next? And when things would not work out, be it a job or I would be laid off, or something, some project would fail, some friendship would fail, I would take it as a personal failure or personal rejection. And gradually I started learning more about spirituality, and I realized that things that are meant to be in my life, people, places, persons, jobs, they will stay in my life no matter what, despite challenges, good time, bad time. And if something is not working out, maybe it's not best for me. And I think if we will look at any situation from an ego perspective, we will always take it personally that things worked out for that another person, but not for me. Why do I have so many challenges and why not the other person? I think over the years I have realized spirituality is something that you don't choose. Spirituality chooses you. So a lot of my so in this journey, in this spiritual journey, I've been meeting people, and so I've been meeting them because we share this common interest of spirituality, personal growth. Otherwise, earlier my friends, I had very different set of friends, and so I think I gradually realized that I can only do there is an Indian uh, spiritual book. It's called as Bhagavad Gita. So it talks about one phrase there that is there that I remind myself of constantly, that you can only put in your efforts. Results are not in your hand. So when you put in your efforts, after putting in your efforts, you just detach yourself from the results. So now this is what I try to do. I just put in my effort, and yeah, obviously I'm a human. I also expect a bit that okay, but But then I know that, okay, if it is meant to be, it is meant to be. If it is not meant to be, it is not meant to be. Like before this podcast, we were recording this podcast. So I messaged you about the link and all. And I told myself that if something goes wrong today, I will start doing some other work. I will not, I'm okay with it. And I think this perspective shift was not there inside me like around 5 6 years ago. So because the more we hold on to things and that we want things a certain way, so we are not letting things unfold that way. So I think now I let things and people and their personality situation unfold the way they are meant to, even if it is very bitter or difficult, because I feel maybe that is best for me. And the more that I'm loosening this grip on things and people and situations and results, and today I was like, before the meeting, before the podcast, I applied a little makeup. And I thought, oh, if this podcast didn't work out, but I said, oh no, I would record some videos for my own Instagram because I put on makeup. Or I will work on my master's thesis. But I would be cool about it. If it didn't work out, didn't work out. Because stressing over it and making things happen, I think as humans, we have limited abilities. Our universe has bigger powers. But I'll share something like being an Indian, I never had any plans to come out of India. I was content there. I was working in different cities, but something happened. I started learning Spanish. One thing led to another, and I came to Spain. And so I don't know. The more I'm letting go, the more I'm trusting the universe. I'm like, okay, show me the path. What next? If this is not working out, then what next? So I think the more I'm trusting, the more yes, I have my down moments also. I go through my share of ups and downs. But whenever I'm dipping down, I'm going down, I know, okay, I need to come back to myself. I think I'm going out of alignment, or I need some spirituality in life. I think, I think something is not, my radio frequency is not right. I need to fix my frequency. So, like you have your radio tuners, and so I think that really helped me, that there's no point chasing, because it's like if you see a cat, the more you chase a cat, cat will run away. So I I and if you are still, if you are calm, the cat will come to you. So it's more like that, chasing and attracting.
Yes.
So it's also not about just being completely passive, that okay, I will just sit still, not do anything. You have to still work for your goals. You have to plan. You have to put in efforts. But then you have to, because some certain things are out of your hand, or you have no control over them because they're managed by other authorities or other people or some other results. So I just feel that sometimes obsessing over results never gets you the results. Like today, I was very detached before our uh, podcast recording, and it happened. I think
Yes.
2 times I was forcing it a bit. Oh, I would speak this, I would speak this. I was like, and I could not speak also. But this time I was like completely relaxed. And
I feel that's what you just said with the cat. I think it's a perfect example, because we so often get into almost like a routine of, even though we know that we cannot control everything, there's this like almost intrinsic motivation to try to look just a little bit like force things. But then, like the cat is running away, we need to like really let the universe bring the things to us. Let the things come to us, be magnetized by us, instead of like forcing things, because the energy of force is a very different one. And I feel it's kind of like the universe is protecting us if we force things. It's that like, okay, no, that's not the right frequency. You haven't tuned to the right frequency. So I'm not giving what you want because that's not working out. And that kind of waits until we surrendered. And the best way I understood it, because the point you just said of like, yes, okay, we need to put in the hard work, put in our effort, however hard or soft it is, to achieve our goals, but then let go. For me, when I started my journey, it was like really hard for me to bring these two together, because it's like, okay, should I? work hard to have the grip on it, or should I go completely relaxed, lean back and say like, whatever is coming will knock on my door? And one of my mentors said, you need to have the vessel to hold both. And for me, the way he explained it was really, really profound, because he said like, during the day, you put in the effort to everything. You're doing the aligned actions. You're doing whatever you feel called to do. You're doing all the whatever, if it's a business, like you're doing the marketing, you're doing the messaging, you're reaching out to clients, you're doing your product in the best way you can. But then in the evening, you detach and you say like, universe, it's in your hand. Whatever the result is, it's yours. And the way he explained that, for me, that opened a lot up. And I was reminded of how you explain that right now. The detachment is such an important part, but it cannot be the only part. So we need to like really be able to hold both. Hold the vision and the desire and let go at the same time. And that is like really the dance that we are learning to do better and better over our time. To say like, I'm actually possible. It's actually possible for me to hold that desire and to say like, I'm doing the best I can, but then I let go at the same time and see what the universe is bringing me back. And that's kind of, we need to like kind of strengthen that like a muscle, I feel, because at first it might feel like I can only do the controlling part, the work. They're like really trying to micromanage everything. Or I can lay on the couch and, surrender and see what's coming. But it's both. It's like this duality that is in our life that we need to learn to hold so that the things can manifest the way that is actually aligned for us.
Yeah. It's like, I think I find duality a very beautiful concept if you look at night and day. And if you look at good and bad, or doing and undoing. So they both coexist, masculine and feminine. So when we're doing, it's more like masculine energy, doing it, achieving it, setting targets, planning. And then feminine is just resting, looking after yourself, pausing, reflecting. So I think sometimes I get so much into my masculine energy because living abroad is a different game altogether as compared to living with your family and parents. So I just feel I need to sometimes remind myself. I put my post-its also on my walls and around myself to constantly remind myself that, like you shared, that evening time is for just rewinding and take a break. And I think that balance is, I think that really helps.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
think detachment is also about that feminine energy that now that you have put in your effort and yes, you can improve it, you can get better at it, but you need to somehow detach also from it. Because unless you will not detach, your mind will constantly keep overthinking about. You are not doing anything, but still you are you're trying to control it through overthinking. I do that, and then I'll go. Even though I cannot do anything, but my mind cannot stop thinking. Energetically, I am just trying to control the situation or overthink about it. So I am just like through meditation, I have also recognized this habit of mine, and now I'm just trying to step back and maybe do some things that can help pause my mind's walk or journaling, coloring, something like that, or yoga, meditation, etc.
Yeah, it's important, I feel, to like you said, first recognize that we have these patterns and recognize that this overthinking is not our reality. It's us trying to control things, but it doesn't have to say that it comes that way. To like really detach a bit from these thoughts and then find a way to release them without force. But like you say, coloring, I do that a lot too, or taking a walk or doing movement, whatever it is. It's actually, I think it doesn't even matter so much what it is, but it's about like making the effort or committing to saying, I want to let these thoughts, I want to set them free, because that's not me attracting, that's me chasing, that's me trying to control an outcome that I cannot control, because it's just not part of the power I hold. I hold the power to feel how I want to feel, And that is something we need to remind ourselves often, especially in stressful situations, that it's on us, how we want to feel, and really embrace that flow that you touched upon with the feminine and the masculine energy. And I think we talked about that when we meet last time, this like the way we are conditioned to live so much in the masculine energy, which is not bad, but it's one side of the coin. And this learning to flow with the feminine, for me, the moon is always a very good reminder. And the last days after the new moon, it was so beautiful to witness it, because it was, you could so clearly, here in Germany, you could so clearly see the dark side of the moon. And then you could see like the wonderful, beautiful, small lightened part. And not one was better than the other, but both of them are necessary so that things can flow, so that we can have like the bigger picture. And there's not a only this or only that, but it's like the moon, it's always changing. And there's no need to compare one to the other, or to say like it only needs to be full or it only needs to be new moon. But it's like a constant dance. And I feel we can learn a lot by acknowledging that there are cycles in life, and acknowledging that there is this duality that we're just talking about in everything, and that sometimes we're more leaning to that side and sometimes we're more leaning to that side. But, always coming back to the center, to the alignment, we're saying like, I can hold that both. And that's the way our society works. And like you touched upon, like if you are living in a different country and you don't have the support of your family directly where you are, of course you're falling more easily into the masculine because there's so much to do. But then again, calling yourself back and saying like, okay, I need to rest. I need to allow myself to live the feminine as well, so that there is space for all that I want to come into my life.
Yeah, we need to find that balance. And
yeah,
that Luna energy. I bought this book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. I've not read it fully, but it also talks about finding that your inner strength, and then syncing it to your your goals and your life.
Yeah, that there is a lot of power, I feel, in this dance of letting go, but also being firm with what we believe. Because often I've seen people say like, okay, well then it's not for me, and they can release a desire or a belief, because if it's not instantly manifested, if this control needs to be loosened up, then there's this like, oh, it's not working, so okay, I'm just letting go of it. But that's not the thing either. It's about us being really clear on the goal. You mentioned like the setting the goal, and how your country is so used to like being achieving goals. It's about sticking with it as well. It's not just, okay, well then it's not happening. So there's this dance is kind of a subtle one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you shared about that just waiting for your goals. And also I had read one story around it, I think long ago. It was about a farmer. And so the story said that the farmer sows the seeds, and then the next day the farmer does not return to the field to check, okay, if there are fruits, vegetables. So that story also gave me a lot of clarity that yes, the efforts that I'm putting in today will not necessarily give immediate results tomorrow. So if you look at a farmer is patient, waits for say 3 months, 6 months for the crop to completely bloom. And I think the only thing that we can do is just put in our efforts, give our best, be sincere with our intentions and with what we want, not just for ourselves, but I think maybe a part of that for the universe or for society. That's how I think about it. I'm not too much into a like capitalist mindset. I believe in sharing also. And because I feel that if universe is giving you so much, everything universe is giving you, how to live, resources, or it's not like you are just buying it through your own money and all, but universe is giving you those opportunities also, so that you can access what you want. or maybe it be a nice dress, a nice book, an education course, or anything. So everything is, if you see, connected. So I think somewhere it's my, I try to give it back also as much as I can. And because it's life is always a cycle, as what you give is what comes back to you. So I just feel that you must also try to do your best to your best capacity.
Mm-hmm. It's not about like just taking, gathering for our own sake. Yes, there's nothing wrong in like having the life we want with all the material stuff that we want, or like say with all the courses. That's for me. Like I loved learning more, and it's like very important part of myself. But then again, it's rippling out the energy that you have, this like balanced energy that you have when you are in alignment, when you have your goals set, but you also can surrender. That is inspiring to others. That can give safety to others. That can like really motivate others to do the same. And so we're always like rippling out our energy, like the radio station broadcasting. And the lower this vibration is, and the more like we're like trying to like grasp a certain thing or hold tight to something that we actually want, the more we're sending out that frequency. So as everything is a cycle, we can just choose to live in the upward spiral and really uplift more people while we are caring for ourselves. And not it's not about taking it just for us. It's like it's a global thing. The better I am, that was a belief that I definitely needed to form when I started my business, that the better I am, the better I can help. And before there was this societal conditioning of, oh, if you do take care of yourself so much, then you're selfish, you're superficial, you're whatever. But really learning that it's not the way, but it's a way that I care for myself, and at the same time, it's a collective need that every one of us takes care for themselves, because that's uplifting the other. So everything is connected, like you said, and we need to remind ourselves daily, because sometimes this individual feeling of, oh, it's just me and me against the world, maybe even wrong. It's just a way we try to explain ourselves how we feel when we feel that lonely, and it's like, oh, I have to do everything for myself, but that's not the case.
So I would like to add something. I was reading something about money and mindset and all. So if you see on a global level, a lot of people think money is bad. Mm-hmm. But I realized, and I see things around people around, and it was my understanding that money is actually a neutral thing. It's neither positive or not negative. If you give money to good people, they will try to do good. If you give money to people who are not so good, they will use it for their things. So again, it's about the intention and the energy that you give to something. And so this is what I feel that.
Mm-hmm. It's important. I feel it. I thank you for bringing that thing with the money up, because I feel like a lot of us are, especially the ones who are more empathic, more sensitive, do see often connections between having money, earning money, wanting money, and like how much destruction is done with money. And so we kind of subconsciously link that the money itself, it's bad, but it's not. And I feel like the more we are in integrity with ourselves, the more we are acting from alignment, and then having money at our hands to do good with, the more we're uplifting not only our own lives, but also the collective, because energy is always the lower energy is always trying to match the higher one. So if you have uplifted yourself and you have all that financial abundance, you can do so much good. So it's definitely time to release this limiting belief of, if you're spiritual, you don't need money or whatever it is, or you're not charging for your what we talked about charging for work before. It's very important to learn that it's nothing bad, and I feel that keeps a lot of people small. That there is still like subconscious programming around, if we want that for ourselves, it's kind of a thing that is not good.
So I think money is like that fuel. Okay, you have a car, you need petrol or diesel or some electric energy to run it. So you, as long as you're alive, you need money for your expenses, for your leisure, for everything, for food, for housing, for everything you need. So now I see money very differently. I see that okay, it's neutral energy. It's something that you pay to somebody in exchange of some value. It could be food, it could be resources, it could be housing, it could be rent, or it could be anything. So there is nothing good or bad attached to it. It is a meaning that you give to something. So because if you see, there are so many people in the world who are doing good with the money they have, and there is another side to it also. The people who don't have such good intentions, they are also doing whatever they want to do with the money. So I think it's the meaning you attach to something, and that really makes a lot of difference.
I agree. And what also helped me a lot was learning about how we see money, not only what we can do with it, but I've learned that so many of us are programmed to subconsciously see money as this. It's like often it's male energy because, of course, like the whole society we live in it's run by male energy, and a lot of women have kind of are struggling with accepting that male, straightforward, masculine energy of the money. And for me, things changed a lot when I've learned to shift that and decide to see money as female energy. Like now I'm imagining, like if I think of money before I was going into meditation, I was seeing money like as an old white guy. The way most of these people who have a lot of money are old white guys. So I wasn't even aware that I see this entity of money together with that person. And then I shifted it to seeing it as a woman who has this feminine giving flow and has a whole different energy to it. And for me, that shifted really the way I work with money, or the way I see it, or even the way I can accept it in, because it came from a different vibration. So the whole vibration of money changed a lot when I became aware of that. And for most of my life, I didn't do that. And it helped me so much. And I think it's very much time that, because we talked about everything is connected, that we like give meaning to how we see certain things, whatever it is. It could be success as well, or growth, or relationships, but give meaning to the things and ask ourselves, what is the picture that we're seeing with it, so that we can like kind of learn to get to know ourselves better and see where these beliefs are, these programs that kind of make us like, oh no, I don't want to go in that direction. So for that, I'm repelling subconsciously this thing that my conscious part wants me to be in a relationship or earn money or have success, but subconsciously that's like, no, I don't want to go there. To like kind of merge that in a healthy way.
So I think again, it's the meaning that you attach to it, and I think our subconscious plays a big role in that. Because everything you see, because I've realized one thing in life: anything in your external reality is a reflection of your inner work or your inner reality. People may not accept it, and sometimes yes, we all struggle with it. That oh, this challenge is there. So what is inside me? Why is it being reflected out to me? But I think the more inner work we do, and I tell myself also, suppose if I want to create a different reality, or if I'm trying to achieve some goals or have some other thing in my life, maybe I need to do that inner work first.
Yeah.
It's not going to just happen externally, and because without changing my mindset, my subconscious beliefs about it, and my holding power also around it. Because if you see people who win, say, these lotteries and these contests for 1 million or something like that, if they don't have that holding capacity, they end up losing that money or wasting it. Because if you cannot handle a small amount well, how will you handle a big amount?
Yeah.
So I just feel that it comes to a lot of your own inner work also, because life is reflecting back at you what is going on inside. Because I'll share something. I had some very old friends, and like in the last 2 years, I've let go of those friendships because I gradually realized that uh, maybe I wasn't respecting myself enough, and those people weren't respecting me. And earlier, I would ignore certain things, and you would not say certain things, thinking that, oh, this would break the friendship, or let it be, or the person might feel offended. But even I realized I was taking a lot of disrespect because I didn't want the friendships to break. But I gradually realized this is not how friends are. This is not a good friend. This is not how a good friend behaves, or something like that. So it's about realizing also that what is serving me, let that stay. What is not serving me, let that go from my life. And if I want something better, how can I create space within myself and within my life and within my own consciousness to allow that in also? Because without that space, I think you won't be able to hold on to that.
We're seeing that often, like you said, with the lottery example. I think we're seeing that a lot in friendships or relationships or anything too, that we kind of, for a short amount of time, we're able to hold it, but then again, not, because it's not in our new self-image. We haven't changed our self-image to hold whatever we desire. And that's, I feel, why it's often taking so long. It's not because the universe is not giving you what you want, but it's because you're actually not capable to hold space for it, or to like really hold it long term. So therefore, it's more like a protection that you don't even get it, or that you get it really slowly, so that you expand your capacity to hold it while you get it slowly. And there's this rush to, we started with that, this rush to get things, and it feels like it's not getting there fast enough, or we're not growing fast enough, or whatever it is. But actually, it's coming back to the mirror concept that you talked about just now. We ourselves are not able to see the mirror clearly, to see it like, oh, okay, when it's taking so slow, maybe it's because I'm not able to hold it right now. It's because I'm not able to grow that fast at the moment. And by becoming aware of that, we are able to grow. It's about like becoming aware, to really look into the mirror and say, like, what do I see here, without judgment, without like beating ourselves up, but taking kind of an inventory to say, like, what is happening in my life? Why is this happening? Because you can learn so much just to reflect back on the experiences you have every day. That's something that I do in every evening, or almost every evening. Sometimes I forget, to like really reflect on my day and see what comes up, what has kind of triggered me, because my triggers are my ceilings, and what has kind of been mirrored back to me that I liked or didn't like. And then in this reflection, things are changing so much, and I can learn so much that I've maybe would have missed, because it's often the littlest things that happen that have the biggest impact. And me needing to roll my eyes because, I don't know, my son did something that I was annoyed of, can lead to such a big insight. I would have missed that if I wouldn't have taken the time to look back at that mirror and see, like, what happened there? What was it? And I feel there's so much power in our awareness. We don't need all the other tools. They can help us, but our awareness alone can change so much. And it's about the responsibility that we have for ourselves to acknowledge that and say, like, oh, I'm willing to do that work. I'm willing to look into the mirror and see what's happening there.
But I feel it's not so easy to look into that mirror and do
course.
that work. And I've been running away from the mirror for so long, and
Yeah.
it's not easy. And there's a lot when you start healing, when you start doing this work. You think, okay, you have resolved one issue, and then you have 10,000 more issues waiting for your attention. So I think it's like a never-ending work, and the more you work on these things, the more comes out. It's like self-awareness brings so much into perspective, that things you have been ignoring, things you have just unconsciously picked up from your childhood, from here, from your upbringing also.
Yes.
I think that plays a very big role. But I think it actually comes down to if you really want a better reality, I think it comes down to looking into the taking accountability. I think for me, taking accountability has really helped me a lot. Like something about my life, or I'm not happy in certain area of my life. What can I do? Blaming others is the easiest thing to do. I've been a big blame all my life.
Yeah,
Thing
it's
didn't work
the
out.
easier thing to do. And we're kind of trained to say, oh, you make me feel that way. But actually, it's on us to say, like, do I want to feel as angry as that person in front of me or not? Yeah. And there's no shame, or there shouldn't be any shame around that, because it's about the moment you acknowledge that you're blaming someone else, you can change it. And I totally agree. Often it's not the nicest thing, or it might be quite uncomfortable to look into the mirror. But again, you touched on that before. The reward you get when you do the inner work, the amount of growth you can experience if you are courageous enough to look at yourself, at your life in the mirror, kind of as a metaphor, or maybe even real. Say, like, what is that here? What do I see here? You can get a lot of insights out of that, and a lot of change can happen when we are, taking that forward.
I think the more you can look at your own shadow and accept it as part of who you are, and do the work, maybe one little by little, I think growth starts there. You cannot just focus on your good parts and just everything is fine, and rest you cannot brush under the carpet. And so I think the more you are able to face that side of yours and be willing to do the work, because eventually you will get the results.
Yeah.
And so it's because without embracing that dark side of yours, that shadow side of yours, I think there is no growth. You how will you grow?
I agree. I come up again back to the moon example, because the moon needs to have the dark side so that you can have, like, to see the rest. You see the light side. And with us, it's the same. We cannot grow very much when we're just looking at, oh, what do I want, but not looking at what is keeping me, or what is the shadow that wants to come out in this. So it's again about this duality, and about, like, constantly being open to seeing what is happening, to seeing what is present in our lives, and to not shy away from looking at ourselves, looking at our shadows, taking kind of an inventory of what is going on right now, without blaming ourselves or someone else, but just to, like, kind of neutrally seeing what is going on. And from there, we are back at the seed example. You have planted a seed, and it will bloom eventually. However the gestation period is, some things bloom easier and faster than others, but they are blooming.
So one learning that has really helped me and keeps me going is that sowing season is different and blooming season is different, because it does not happen at the same time. So you keep sowing, and when it blooms, because then when things are blooming, getting better, then nobody complains. But when we are not getting immediate results, we all start to complain. That, oh, I'm doing this, it's not happening. I called 5 clients, nobody is responding. So I think we all enjoy that what you say in Spanish we say cosecha, like how do you, I'm just forgetting that word in English. So harvest, yeah, everybody enjoys that harvest, but yes, to reach that harvest period also you need to put in the effort. You sow the seeds, you need to nurture them, add manure, add fertilizer, add something or the other. But I think it's a long work. I think life is a long term game, it's not a short term game.
Great.
I mean, I read some I think some post recently. It said that don't measure your results in a matter of months. Measure in decades, measure in years, or not even in months, because we are just in the sowing period. So when I was learning Spanish, also I remember, because it's language learning takes a lot of time, and India is you have a very non-Spanish speaking environment. So my growth was slower. And so now I look back at it, and even during that time, I used to read stuff about spirituality. So it used to really give me a lot of perspective that yes, I am sowing the seed. It's going to be a so slow process. enjoy it also. But yes, there were days when I used to struggle with it also. That I'm still in the sowing phase. Blooming will happen later, but I think that my mentality and society also makes it hard. Where are the results? Because everybody keeps asking you, where are the results? You say, oh, you did this, but what have you gained from it? Show us, show us. But I think now I'm also trying to see my life in more in terms of decades or 5 years, that how much have I grown? What has worked better? Because eventually I think life is not a competition with anyone. It's just with you. And I think it's better to run your own race.
Oh, thank you. That is
It's
just a perfect way to, yes.
It's tiring to keep competing with others and see others' growth and just not feel good about it. So just keep. There's a quote that says just keep clapping for others until it's your turn. So I think energetically also I had read somewhere that if you see something good happening in someone's life, you just feel very happy about them, and in no time that thing will happen in your life also. And I do that sometimes. It happens also. So, and I think it's a possibility also, energetically. If something is happening in someone's life, any good moment or any growth or anything, that means the possibility is there. It's just a matter of time when it happens in your life.
Yes. Yes, it's like the trust and the attraction of things. If you witness it, it's already in your field. Even if it's not you who experience it right now, it's very close.
In your field, yeah, it's a very valid.
Yes.
It's in your field. And it might just come to you maybe tomorrow.
In a very short time. Oh, Kitty, I thank you so much. That is just a very lovely conversation, and thank you for bringing up all these pictures. I feel we all need to like be reminded again that there is so much different ways of looking at things, and there is always the possibility for things to change, but there is also sometimes a gestation period of how long things need until they bloom. And yeah, it was just like really lovely to witness that explanation. Thank you so much for your
not for your time. I think it was our alignment today that we
like we said. It's like we said. I think we have found the perfect time to meet up, and before it just wasn't. And so that's a lesson that we humans need to learn as well, that our plan is not maybe aligning with the divine plan. But yeah, now it did, and that's amazing. I thank you a lot for being here and for sharing your wisdom. And I will link your Instagram below so that people can connect with you and learn more about your podcast and your work. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Namaste.
Oh, beautiful.